Overall impressions of this statement today?
Well, overall, I think it was a pretty good job. In particular, he targeted most of the additional support today at the households that need it most. So that's low-income households and also other vulnerable groups, including pensioners and the disabled. So it's a well-targeted package. I think it'll go a long way towards easing the additional pressures on household budgets over the next few months. And on top of some of the measures he's announced previously, I think it will help us to avoid a recession. There's still some aspects of it I didn't like. In particular, I'm not keen on the windfall tax, which I think was unnecessary and will distort investment decisions. But I think that's a secondary issue to the bigger story, which is that he has provided a substantial amount of support to those who are really struggling to pay their bills at the moment.
Julian, help us avoid a recession. Will it be inflationary?
Well, I understand that concern. I mean, clearly, if the government is injecting more money into the economy, then that will boost demand, and it might mean that the Bank of England wants to raise interest rates a bit more than it otherwise have done. But I think the way that it's been targeted has been quite helpful because, as I say, most of the money will be going to poorer households. What it will basically allow them to do is to continue buying the same amount of energy and other essentials as they were before. It doesn't mean that those households are suddenly going to rush out and spend loads of money on other goods and services. They're simply not going to be in a position to do so. And also, if it does mean the Bank of England raises interest rates a bit more aggressively than before, I actually think that's no bad thing. I think many economists, myself included, think that fiscal policy is too tight. The government needed to spend more and cut taxes, but monetary policy is too loose. So if we get slightly higher interest rates as a result of that, then I think that's a good balance to strike.
What would you say, Julian, to those Conservative backbenchers, a handful who were howling from the backbenches, saying this is too redistributive? Saying the principle of saying to a company your profits are only ever provisional, we, the state, reserve the right to nick them from you later on. What do you say to them?
Well, I agree about the concerns over the windfall tax. I think it's sending a very bad signal to businesses that, in particular in industry like oil and gas, where the profits are very cyclical, they go up and down a lot. If you're sending a signal that anytime you have a good year, you'll be whacked with a sort of unexpected, arbitrary and retrospective tax, I think that's increasing business uncertainty. And the way that he announced it today actually had some additional uncertainty in it as well. It's not clear when this windfall tax will end. And it might also be extended to other companies, including electricity generators, who at the moment don't have any clarity about what their tax position is going to be. So I agree with the backbenchers, if you like, on that. In terms of the redistributive element, yes, I'm no great fan of just giving people money to tide them through problems, but sometimes that's the best thing to do. The government has done other things that are more, if you like, market friendly. We've got the increase in the national insurance threshold coming up soon. That's a tax cut for low earners. Some of the changes to universal credit are effectively tax cuts for low earners as well. And I think that should be the first line of defence against the cost of living crisis. On top of that, very important supply side reforms, including fixing problems in the supply of energy. But at the end of the day, in a crisis as steep and big as we've got now, sometimes simply giving more people money is the best solution.